Mary, give thanks. Blessed love, welcome. Greetings. This is the African Liberation Network. I am Honorable Prophet Daniel, and this is the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress Study Group. Give thanks again for another Sabbath gone through. Give thanks for 6 days of labor that has begun. Give thanks for all that is with us at this time, on the Zoom, and those that are watching on YouTube, now and in the future still. We don't have a priest present, so I'll go ahead and, just say a short prayer to begin the reasoning. Today's topic is going to be the coronation of His and Her Majesty. And, also is the freedom, really to bring in whatever, topics is relevant still to that culture and development. It's not rigid still, but being that the coronation celebration is coming in a couple of days, we would try to, reason around those things still. So at this time, we'd like to give reverence, and anyone have anything in the pockets, just free that up. Yeah. Glory be to our Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy One of creation, as Jah was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, Jah without end. Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren and sisters to dwell together in unity and love. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Lord commanded the blessing, even life and love forevermore. So we hail our God, Selassie, Jehovah, Rastafari, our Almighty God, God, Jah, who sitteth in Zion and reigneth in the hearts of all flesh. O thou most high, eternal Father, Jehovah God, Rastafari, hear us and bless us, O Lord, keep and sanctify us all. Cause thy holy face to shine upon us, thy children, that we shall be saved and redeemed. O thou most high God, Jah, Rastafari. Holy, holy, holy Lord God Almighty. Holy, how early in the morning our song shall rise to thee. Holy, 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 merciful and mighty, God in three persons, blessed Trinity. Jehovah, Jah, Rastafari. Yes, I give thanks again for everyone that's with us at this time. I have a Rastafari on the coronation of His and Her Majesty, in Addis Ababa, November 2nd, 1930. We'll just watch the video for a moment. It's short, and after the video, we'll. I had a few things I would like to read, to share, around the coronation celebration. And then we could just, go forward with whatever reason ones wanted to, discuss and share. So give thanks. One moment. All right, yes, thanks. So there was Psalms reading, and the choir was singing, and there was an order about a crown. They put a robe and crown and orb, scepter, ring, you know, a few different things. I don't really know all of the different parts, but you know, it was a grand occasion, you know. Up to that point though, you know, that was 1930, but up to that point, His Majesty had already been through a lot, you know, as from being the jazz match safari, and then becoming having the governorship of Haile, the region where his father was governor, and of, what was he, 13 or so? Empress, Billy May, you on?
That's a love.
Blessed Honorable. Do you know how old His Majesty was when he became the governor of Haile?
Between 13 and 15.
Okay, yeah. So that's a very young age to be controlling a whole big region, an important region, you know.
Yes, he had his own. He had his own house. His father gave him his own house, and he had his own army. And I usually go and visit the house on my Earth Strong. It's a 3-story house, but they closed 2 of the stories down now, and there's only 1 story that's open, which is the bottom floor. There are a lot of artifacts in there. And it's a big compound with walls straight around. That's his private home, safari house.
How come they closed down the upper levels?
Because it need repairing.
Okay.
But when I went, pardon me, when I went there 13 or 14 years ago, I was telling the courier who was carrying me around that I went to the 3 floors.
Oh yeah.
At that time, yes. At that time, I went to the 3 floors.
How long have you been living in Ethiopia, Empress?
Pardon me?
How long has you been living in Ethiopia?
Oh, 5 years come February, but my first visit was like 13 years ago. So.
Okay. Thanks.
I try to go forward and visit harder, you know, because I love harder.
Yeah, I've seen some documentaries about Hara. It's a really interesting looking place, you know, like the way they have a wall around the whole city of Hara.
They have 4 walls, I think.
The streets are laid out. Okay.
They have 4 walls. I think it's 4 walls or 3 walls. I went and took some pictures at one time on one of the walls. And there's gates. There's gates to each wall.
Okay. Well,
it's beautiful.
I would like to read a little bit, you know, of His Majesty's autobiography, wherein he's telling about his, you know, his coming up to becoming crowned King of Kings, and then even to read about his perspective of the coronation. But if anybody has anything that they want to say at any point, you know, feel free to stop me and interject, you know. Yeah. But just to give a little bit of history, you know, because he went through a lot before he became the King of Kings, you know. So about my appointment to the governorship of Haile and its province. After this, the Jazmach Balcha, who was the governor of Haile, was summoned to Addis Ababa in the month of Tahassas, December 1909 and January 1910. And even before he entered Addis Ababa, it again began to be rumored by the mouth of people that the emperor was about to give the governorship of Haile to the Jazmach Tafari. Balcha, still on his way, heard this. He began to make strenuous endeavors immediately on arrival at Addis Ababa to retain the governorship of Haile by means of intercessors as well as by money. But I was biding my time, carrying out my other daily duties, and thinking that I could not fail to obtain the governorship whenever it might be God's will to show me favor. Later one day, unexpectedly, Ras Bitwadid Tasamma, Ras Bitwadid Mangasha, Atikam, Fitaurari Habta Georgis, and Sahafe as Gabra Selassie while assembled together, summoned me and said, although you are still a Yumo, has shown you to be knowledgeable, the Empress has now given you Hadarge, which used to be your father's governorate. I bowed and said, with your help, I will take proper care of the government of the province. For I know that a great responsibility rests upon me and being governor of Hadar. The proclamation in my favor, 1902, 3rd of March, 1910. So that's 20 years before he became the king. And when I went to my diplomatic corps, who had resident consulates at Hadar, came to my house and formed trust that you will govern Hadar in the same fine manner as your father. And so he was 18 years old when he became the governor of Hadar. And then we became regent, crown prince, and regent plenipotentiary as well. Trying to find what year that was, because Legiasu, his cousin, was he was made the king, like not king because Taitu was the empress at the time, and she wasn't really ruling, so to speak. She was just like a monarch figure, and Legiasu had become the Negus, but Legiasu had been found to be incapable of controlling the government and removed from his position as king. And it was given to, at that time, Ras Tafari. Now became Negus Tafari. And once he became regent and crown prince and regent plenipotentiary, he did a lot of work. He traveled in Europe. He went to a few different countries, but he also did some work in the government, writing treaties and a whole set of things. Well, anyway, let me read a little bit about our receiving the dignity of kingship without ceasing to be heir apparent and regent plenipotentiary. The throne on the grounds of his inability to conduct the government, it was arranged that I should take charge and be responsible for the entire business of government, while Queen Zalditu became empress with myself as heir to the throne and regent plenipotentiary. When by virtue of my office as regent, I set to work the following ways of modern civilization. I caused some of the nobles, who to their misfortune had been hanging on to the old customs, to give up the plans that they had conceived for ruling, just as they pleased the district to which they had been appointed. They began to feel aggrieved when, as those who had been wronged protested, we meted out impartial justice in regard to them, without paying heed to their high station. When we told them to render to the government the income derived from their governorship in terms of customs and duties, telephone charges, and similar revenues, and when we moved them about in reshuffles from one province to another, because they were aware in their heart that everything was being done equitably and that remonstrating would make them objects of shame, they could not openly discuss this matter, which caused them such distress. They therefore let this go and decided instead to make Queen Zalditu an instrument adapted to all their designs. So what he was saying basically is that when he became the king, not the king of kings, but heir to the throne, he changed up the governorship of the different provinces. He moved them around because he knew that these people didn't like the fact that he was, shaking things up. They were used to the way they had it set. They get their money, they're living good, and it worked out for them. But His Majesty wanted to, modernize the country and make it more, fitting, like how other countries have been, getting more advanced. So he wanted to do similar things. So they didn't really love that. They wanted to keep it the way they had been accustomed to, So he moved them around to keep them from rising conspiracy, creating, some type of alliance amongst each other to try and overthrow him, because he knew they wouldn't like him doing what he was doing. And he said they couldn't really talk about it too much because then it would make them, traitors and be ashamed. So they just had to take it. But so instead of them just, accepting it, they tried to use Empress Dauditu as their, their way to still control the government. For this purpose, it was the Jasmach Balcha whom at first they made their leader. It was in a district called Agamja, at a distance of 4 days' march from Addis Ababa, that Jasmach Balcha was born. During a military campaign in the Agamja region, he was still a young boy. In the hour of victory, a soldier found him, took him prisoner, and brought him to Menelik, and he grew up in the palace. It was my father, His Highness Ras Makanen, who became his godfather at the christening. When he was growing up, Emperor Menelik appointed him custodian of all government finances. Later on, when he fought against the Italians at the time of the Battle of Haile, he showed conspicuous valor and thus began to live in an exalted position. The fact that the Italians killed him now with such cruel violence was additionally an act of revenge for the Battle of Adwa, and not only because he struggled against them in heroic guerrilla actions. While the Jasmach Balcha occupied a position of rank and honor in Emperor Menelik's time and our own, worthless men who rose up to impede our work seduced him into becoming their leader. And thus he got involved in the matter. But subsequently, when those worthless men were arrested and condemned to punishment, he himself disputed his involvement in the matter and, having escaped punishment, went to his governor of Sidamo. All right, so that we'll skip a little bit. Okay.
Blessings, greetings, my Lord.
Maltreated the peasant. Blessed love, honorable.
Give thanks. I'm a little bit late, but
as he
forgive me.
Treated the peasants by his mode of, it's okay, give thanks for the coming in. Just reading a little bit about His Majesty, his autobiography, him telling the story of how he came up and he got Ross.
Oh, give thanks, my Lord.
And then Ross, and then Crown Regent Plenipotentiary. So I'm just reading a little bit about it. And then coming up to the coronation. As he maltreated the peasants by his mode of governance and the military by his allocation of quarters, worse even than before, they came to Addis Ababa to complain. When we summoned him to submit for arbitration, he let many months pass before he came, feeding delay or illness or fatigue. After he had turned up, he stayed at his house claiming to be ill, so as not to be called to face arbitration and to appear before the tribunal with those who had been wronged. But as we had heard of his attempts to stir up trouble against us, we had his house surrounded by troops and made him attend by force. When we caused the matter to be investigated, he admitted by his own statement that he had planned to stir up trouble against us. And since his own servants testified against him, he was sentenced in the month of Yakatit, 1920, February 1928, to be deprived of his office and to reside in a specially designated place. Later on in the month of Nahase, 28, some useless and worthless men rose up against us, making the Jasmach Abba Wakau, their leader. Abba Wakau had earlier been a retainer of Emperor Menelik, but after we had become regent plenipotentiary, we nominated him the jazz match and made him commander of our guard. But without thinking of his country, Ethiopia, or his honor, the insurgent sought to raise up commotion against us by taking counsel with useless and common people. We heard that he was spreading the rumor with a view to increasing his following, that it was Queen Zalditu who had ordered him to bring about this upheaval. And when we summoned him to tell us this in his own words, he bided his time by wandering to and fro within the extensive grounds of the palace precincts. And when it became dark, he entered the Menelik mausoleum adjacent to the palace and stayed there as a rebel. Later on, he sent as intercessors the Echege and some priests, lest we should impose the death penalty upon him, and then he surrendered. While he was spared the death penalty, he was sentenced to reside at a specified place under arrest. All right, so I ain't gonna continue too much in that, but just to show, whenever they thought that His Majesty was rising up in the ranks, they started with Legiasu, then it was, Gugsawale and this Abba, what's his name, Baucha, the jazz match Baucha, and then Wakau. He said, worthless common people rise up from time to time against our crown prince and create upheaval. Perhaps on some future occasions when similar disturbances arise, we may fail to prevent internal bloodshed. It is therefore necessary to think of means of restraining such commotion. For this purpose, it is best to act as follows. Empress Zalditu should have solely the honor of the crown and the throne, and as was established when she first succeeded to the reign, leaving the task of government entirely to the crown prince, while the latter should carry out on his sole authority the whole business of government, as was defined and initiated on the 17th of Muskaram, 1909, which is 27th of September, 1916, without consulting the Empress and without obtaining her permission. In order that his authority should possess force and be respected, it would be best for us to arrange that he should attain the dignity of kingship. Once they had decided this, they assembled in the wide square within the palace precincts and approached Empress Zalditu in writing. May it please you to have His Highness, Crown Prince Tafari, proclaimed king and have him carry out on his sole authority any government business without having to consult anyone. So even though he's the crown prince and regent plenipotentiary, he is controlling the government at this point. This is 1916, so he would have been 1892. So he'd have been 24 years old. He became the governor of the whole country, even though he wasn't the emperor, but his word was, the law, So yes, sir. And that's 1916. So then for 14 years, he was, the king. And this is about our coronation as emperor. On the 17th, Muskaram, 1909, which is the 27th of September, 1916, I was chosen heir to the throne and regent, with Queen Zalditu occupying the throne. And when I had patiently carried out the work of government for 14 years in my office of regent plenipotentiary, Queen Zalditu died on the 24th of Magabit, 1922, which is the 2nd of April, 1930. And consequently, on the morrow, I was proclaimed emperor and assumed the throne. As regards the succession to throne and crown, we have read in history that at a time when Ethiopia lived in isolation and before she had established relations with foreign countries, the prevailing custom had been at the demise of the emperor for his death often to remain carefully unannounced. They would then place his son and heir on the throne and crown him immediately that very day. Only after the son's reign and coronation had been announced by proclamation would they give a ceremonial burial to the dead king. So what they're saying is that before, the tradition had been when the king passed, when he dropped his flesh, they wouldn't tell anybody, and they would make the son the king, the same day that the king, the previous king had dropped his flesh, they would make his son the king. And then they would, announce it to the rest of the country and bury the king and let everybody know. Because they wouldn't want the people to know that there was no king. At other times, again, at the demise of the emperor, the officers of the royal household would take him clandestinely and bury him before anyone could hear about it. And on the morrow, they would place his son and heir on the throne. After they had conducted the royal installation service and crowned him, the death of the father and the new reign of the son would be announced with the proclamation of the same time. But now that Ethiopia had concluded treaties of commerce and friendship with 12 foreign governments, had entered the League of Nations, and had established firm, friendly relations, we were convinced that it was proper, in accordance with the practice of the most civilized governments, in the case of their coronations, to invite to our coronation the countries which had set up legations and consulates in Ethiopia. But as require a long time to dispatch the letters of invitation and to await the arrival of delegates, as well as to make all to be postponed for 7 months. Our Majesty has doing it on the same day like they used to. He set it back for 7 months from April the 2nd to November the 2nd, because April the 2nd is when Empress Sauditu had dropped her flesh. All right. So after that, they sent out letters of invitation to George of England, Victor of Italy, Hirohito of Japan, Albert II of Belgium, Gustav of Sweden, Wilhelmina of Holland, Fuad I of Egypt, Domergue of the French Republic, Mr. Hoover, the President of the USA, and Field Marshal von Hindenburg of Germany, Mustafa Kemal Pasha of the Turkish Republic, and Konduriotis of Greece. And they also reached out to the Polish government because they had, been working together with them on some other things. So those are the people that they, invited. And after these invitations had been dispatched to the foreign governments and to the great within Ethiopia, arrangements were made for the principal streets of Addis Ababa and the houses along each street to be repaired, as well as for electric light to be installed along the main streets and all the houses by which the guests would pass. The imperial vestments, the crown and the orb, the imperial scepter and the sword, the ring, and all similar things were specifically made of gold and diamonds. Formerly, the only distinctive mark of honor for princes had been their golden headgear, but now we arranged that the golden headgear should be for Rases, who had been appointed by virtue of hard work and services, while for the crown prince and the prince of the royal descent, we had made a pearl-studded headgear, coronet, smaller than a crown, but excelling the golden headgear in size and in beauty of workmanship. For the ladies of our family and the wives of the princes, golden diadems, smaller than those for princes and corresponding to their rank. For military commanders, vestments and headgears were made of lions' manes that were interlaced with gold and embroidered with velvet. Furthermore, gold medals were manufactured in large quantities on which the effigies of myself and Empress Menen were engraved together, and which were to be given as souvenirs to foreign guests coming to our coronation, either by invitation or of their own volition, as well as to notables and important persons from within the country. Subsequently, by Tekent 8th and 20th, which is October 18th and 30th, that's the day, the foreign envoys who had been invited began to arrive at Addis Ababa, each in his turn. Here, I won't read all of those envoys, but we already know who's coming. All these guests expressed to us their pleasure at their arrival, reception, which we arranged for them upon their arrival. And Furthermore, we had caused to be set up in the vicinity of the Royal Church of St. George a statue of the great Emperor Menelik II. The work was eventually completed, and it was determined that it should be inaugurated on the eve of coronation. All right. We and the Empress, our family and princes and nobles, went to the church at midnight. It had been arranged that our foreign guests should arrive only at 7 o'clock in the morning, and they then took their seats, which had been prepared on the right and on the left of the throne according to their rank. The seating order provided that Ethiopian princes and nobles should be interspersed among the foreign guests. So they didn't put they mixed the Europeans in with the Ethiopians, so they would, be sectioned off by themselves. Before the Serata Negs, the royal ritual began, the Archbishop Abuna Kerelos approached with a gospel bound in gold. Before the Serata Negs, which is the royal ritual, began, the Archbishop Abuna Kerelos approached with a gospel bound in gold and asked us to complete the following words of the oath: that we should strengthen the Orthodox faith, which had remained steadfast in Ethiopia from the days of the holy kings Abreha and Asbeha, and that we should keep without disturbance the laws and ordinances which the Orthodox Church had laid down. 2, that in all we were doing, by our authority and our power, to the people in the imperial realm of Ethiopia, we should act with consideration for the interests of the people according to the law, as well as with kindness and patience. 3, that we would permanently maintain the laws we had established after submitting them of our own free will to the council for advice, and that we would safeguard the entire Ethiopian realm and people in accordance with established law and the ordinances of the council. 4, that we would assist by our goodwill and authority the establishment of schools at which secular and spiritual education would be developed in Ethiopia, and in which the gospels would be preached. All right. So those are the 4 things that the priest, the archbishop, made His Majesty, or asked him to give a vow, an oath that he would do those things. After we had completed the swearing-in ceremony of affirming our willingness to maintain all that is laid down above, we appended our signature thereto. Subsequently, the Archbishop assigned to the 6 bishops their respective functions in the coronation service, and then prayers were begun. Of these bishops, 5 were Ethiopians, the 6th was Abuna Yosab, who had come from Egypt as the envoy of the Patriarch of Alexandria, Abuna Johannes, to partake in the joy of our coronation and to convey his blessing. After the Archbishop and bishops had completed the service, performing readings and prayers with the choir singing, the Archbishop approached and anointed us with the oil of kingship and placed the imperial crown upon us. At this moment, our heir to the throne, His Highness Asfawasin, removed the coronet from his head. When he knelt down before us, and the Archbishop approached with a gospel and asked him to take the following oath: 1, that he would honor his father with his whole heart and be obedient to him. 2, that he would not seek in association with evil men what we had not given him of our own will. 3, that he would keep the laws which we had established after referring them of our own free will to the council for advice. After he had sworn to fulfill this, he appended his signature to it. Subsequently, the coronation service of the Empress commenced. The procedure for the enthronement of the Empress is today very different from what it used to be previously. According to our historical study of the earlier practice, the Empress was not anointed with the oil of kingship on the grounds that she did not share in the rulership with the emperor. The crown, being merely symbolic, was very small. It was in the palace that the emperor placed the crown on her head and not in church. This occurred on the 3rd day, for it was not permitted for her to be crowned on the same day as the emperor. But now it was determined after consultation and was accordingly carried out that except for the regal anointing, the archbishop should place the crown on her and put the diamond ring on her finger, and that this should be on the same day jointly with the coronation of the emperor. Yes. So, that's what His Majesty had to say about his coronation and about his, coming up in the ranks from the Jazz Match Tafari to Rastafari to Negus Tafari to Nagus Nagas, Haile Selassie, along with the Honorable Menen. Setting a new tradition which no one has followed yet still, because he was the last one, to be crowned King of Kings in Ethiopia. King of Kings, he had already done a lot of work, title, to take care of the whole country. Nobody else has shown themselves worthy. So it's his own testimony of his life. So just free it up. If anyone have anything that they want to share or anything, it's study group reasoning. So it's a freedom, give thanks for listening. And hopefully the information shared is beneficial to all who heard and who hadn't read it before, All right.
Give thanks, Honorable, my Lord.
Yes, Honorable. Bless I give thanks.
True words, son, man. You done for the great, mighty works of the Emperor, man, and the man. Yeah. I have a word that me always love to read around this time.
Yes, I.
I'd like to add it to the little, it's just a little word, which is the word from Marcus Garvey about the works, about the coronation of His Majesty. Was published in the Black Man magazine in 1930. Marcus Garvey said, last Sunday, a great ceremony took place at Addis Ababa, the capital of Abyssinia. It was the coronation of the new emperor of Ethiopia, Rastafari. From reports and expectations, the sense was a great splendor, and will long be remembered to those who were present. Several of the leading nations of Europe sent representatives of the coronation, thereby paying their respects to the rising Negro nation that is destined to play a great part in the future history of the world. Abyssinia is the land of the blacks, and we are glad to learn that even though Europeans have been trying to impress Abyssinians, that they are not belonging to the Negro race. We have returned the retort that they are, and that they are proud to be so. Rastafari has traveled to Europe and America, and is therefore no stranger to European hypocrisy and methods. He therefore must be regarded as a king of a modern emperor, and from what we understand and know of him, he intends to introduce modern methods and systems into his country. Already he has started to recruit from different sections of the world competent men in different branches of science to help to develop his country to the position that she should occupy the other nation of the world, among the other nations of the world. We do hope that Rastafari will long live to carry out his wonderful intentions from what we have heard and what we do know. He is already and willing to extend the hand of invitation to any Negro who desires to settle in his kingdom. We know of many who are going to Abyssinia and who have given good reports and great possibilities there, which they striving to take advantage of. The psalmist prophesied that princess would come out of Egypt and Ethiopia would stretch forth her hands unto God. We know that the time is now. Come, Ethiopia is now really stretching forth her hands. The great kingdom of the East has been hidden for many centuries, but gradually she is rising to take a leading place in the world. And it is for us of the Negro race to assist in every way to hold up the hand of Rastafari. Marcus I, Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari.
All right.
This is love, my Lord and Empress.
Yes.
Just
Bless
to
you,
honor
love, Your Majesty.
such beautiful words from the greatest prophet about the coronation that he prophesied some way. When he said, look into the east, look into Ethiopia where a king shall be crowned, man.
Telling the world.
Give thanks for this glorious moment of sharing history and the works of His Imperial Majesty, which is the greatest works for us, His people, my Lord and Empress.
Yes, I give thanks, Honorable, for reading, sharing those words. Yeah, I was, in reading about the coronation, you will find that, it was 7 priests. There was 7 different, things that they gave him. There was a crown, a robe, a ring, a scepter, an orb. It's 2 other things I can't remember what they are. Maybe a Bible, I don't know. But yeah, 7 priests. He set it back 7 months after the queen had passed, and yeah, it's just a lot of, you see the numbers. And how His Majesty functioned. Relation to Emmanuel, you just see the connection to have that same meditation, because the 3 is 1. Yeah, glorified. But yeah, the freedom, Honorable Jazera is in the group, in the meeting now. I'm just sharing on a video of some of the coronation footage, the reception, the visitors and things like that. But yeah, the floor is open, and we are talking about the coronation of His and Her Majesty, but it's a freedom, if there's anything that anyone wants to reason about, still feel free to bring it to the table. But being that the coronation celebration is coming up in 2 days, 1 day really, we would just, give some time and attention to His Majesty and Her Majesty.
Blessed love.
Blessed love, Honorable.
Blessed the National Bureaucratic Magazine, June 1931. There is an article by W. Robert Moore on a coronation day in Addis Ababa with illustration. I would like to read what he said about Her Majesty.
All right.
The Empress. In a brief ceremony, the Crown Prince pledged to serve and support his father, the Emperor. The princess then on bended knee before the Emperor. The assembly applaud their greetings, and the visiting naval band played the national anthem. While outside, cannons roared a salute of 101 guns and cheer after cheer came from thousands of subjects massed in the vicinity As soon as the ceremonies for the emperor had ended, the empress, accompanied by her ladies of honor, entered from the right side of the sanctuary to her throne, or color plate one. After the chanting of psalms, she was presented this ear crusted with diamonds as a symbol of the faith, and then assumed scarlet and gold coronation robe. Taking the emperor crown, pardon, taking the empress crown from the hands of the emperor, Babuna offered the prayer, "Oh, our Lord, place this crown of glory and joy on the brow of thy servant, the empress head. Make it a crown of charity, piety, wisdom, and intelligence. O Heavenly Father, make this crown be a crown of honor and glory." So be it. Then place the crown on her head. After this, the empress advanced towards the throne of the emperor, bowed, and returned again to her throne. Emmanuel, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari.
Rastafari.
National Geographic.
Yes, I give thanks.
Glorify.
Mm.
Thanks for the reading, you know.
Yes, love.
Thanks again, my Lord. Royal Angel. Blessed love to the honorables.
Blessed love, honorable goddess.
Oh,
Yes,
blessed
Honorable
love, Royal
Empress.
Angel. Give thanks. Thanks, Sister Lily. Happy belated birthday to the Empress.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I hope you had a wonderful day yesterday. It's a blessed day.
It happened today. I had a lot of business.
All right. Give thanks. Yes, blessed love to the Royal. My Lord and Empress and the study group once more. Let us give thanks for life above all things. Give thanks to our God and King as our Father Coronation is coming up. You know, Tuesday, you know, coronation of our father and mother. My Lord and Empress, I give thanks to this reading from John Daniel to the other, well, prophet or priest, you know, down to Sister Lily. Give thanks, Mama, for the reading. And I hope ones and ones are listening. Sister, well then, our father crowned with our mother, you know, and our mother should be honored just like our father in a certain respect still, you know. We know that we know that our father is the head, but yet still our father didn't leave out his wife. He crowned with her majesty. So those brethren who have fooled themselves in this time don't want to respect our mother, or don't want to see that our mother, you know, and talking foolishness. They must look into, they should have listened to the reading this morning. So I'm happy and I am pleased, you know, to hear more about our father and mother.
Honorable Empress.
Yes, Honorable.
You ever heard a story about how the priest them never wanted the crown Her Majesty the same day with Empress Menen and
right
upon them?
Yes. Yeah, our father say. What him say? What was his word?
Tell me.
My phone broke up. But what was his word? What was his word, Sister Lily? What our father said? Him did lay the crown in, right, of himself and wait upon him wife. Hmm? Don't it? No, so it go.
My mic went mute. Say that again.
Honorable?
Yeah, I don't know what just happened. Okay,
We
yes,
not
sir.
get it.
She was
We
asking.
get it. We getting some kind of delay. What's happening?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, hearing you, but you can't hear. Go on, priest, prophet, what you say?
Empress Lily was asking, her sound went off for a moment, so she didn't really get it.
My lord, I think that the audio of the video is playing over the voice, so
Yeah. Yeah, not sounding good at all. What's wrong?
No. I stopped the video. Is that better?
oh yes, my lord. It
Okay.
just
Yeah.
it was like sounding in the background. So
Yeah, I turned the volume down on my end, but I guess it's still coming through on your end. Sorry about that. So, yes,
Still not sound good enough, Daniel.
if you want.
Still not sound good, Bobo.
Yeah, my network playing crazy.
Yeah.
Say what you were saying again. Huh. Okay. All right. I don't know what it is then.
Something I struggle with this morning, this judgment. Satan
Fire
just
for the
going,
Pope.
no?
Fire
Fire
for
for
the
the
Pope.
Pope. Fire
Fire.
upon the Pope. This hour.
And the Queen.
this hour,
Yes. Elizabeth, judgment. Leave us alone. You are not invited.
Can I be heard?
yes, Bobo, with a little delay, but
Am I being heard right now?
yes, my lord, it's
Yes.
improving.
What you were saying about.
No, I was saying that our father,
All right.
I was saying that I was asking the
Empress
question
Macy, you
if
hearing me?
yes, I'm hearing you. I was asking the question if our father didn't delay the crowning until mama was ready. Was it not so?
He changed the whole setting because it used to be what he said in his honor used to get a real small, insignificant crown, and she would be crowned in the church. She would be crowned in the palace after, or the third day after his coronation. So it wouldn't be a public kind of ceremony kind of thing, it'd just be, it wouldn't, and it wasn't in the church, and it was because he said her in the government, so her crowning wasn't really, he said he wanted her to be crowned on the same day in the church, blessed by the priest, so the order was that the king was crowned, and then the crown prince was crowned. And Empress Lily was asking if the priest didn't want to do it that way. Right, Empress? Is that what you said?
Right, they didn't. The priest rebelled. And His Majesty disappeared upon them.
Yes.
Until they agreed. And when they agreed, then he surfaced and then the coronation went on. With Her Majesty 5 months pregnant with Selassie, and she went through all that ordeal mightily. Empress
So
Menen
that's
I, Selassie
so,
I, Jah,
yeah, yeah.
Rastafari.
So that's why it did went on. That's why it did went on until the 11th of November. Empress Lily, can remember so when we did just start. When I did come up with the foundation, just it was 11th we used to celebrate the coronation, Empress, don't it?
I remember.
Yes, man.
To tell you the truth. To
Miss
tell you the
Dougie.
truth. I noticed that you have a good memory of enough things.
It always been the 11th of November.
Okay.
I always free for it. But then, after a couple of years after, we get to find out that it wasn't 11, it continued until 11, but it was the 2nd of November. And so we start to celebrate it on the 2nd of November.
I believe you.
Yeah? And it is the truth. Yeah, yeah.
I believe you.
Yes, I.
Priest Dougie.
Uh-huh.
Priest Dougie is on the meeting. I'm trying to get you. You're muted, my lord, if you can hear me. But anyway, continue.
I
the
think it
reason
was the
to,
brethren them. It was the brethren them from Merca who suggested that it was the 2nd, and I think they go and do some research or something, and then we start to celebrate it on the 2nd. So we start celebrate it on the 2nd before the father left here, but it was always been the 11th of November. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm asking the question, is it from the 2nd to 11th of November?
well, I mean, what his testimony, his autobiography, he didn't really explain that. No, he didn't say anything about it going on for 9 days. It was just one day. Everybody, he had.
No, it was days. It was days. It was a long ceremony. It was a long celebration.
Okay.
So that's why it went on until 11th of November was the final. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Give
It's
thanks,
long.
Empress. Give thanks, Queen Amigo. Glorify all strength.
Honorable.
Priest Dougie, maybe if your mic isn't working, you could leave and then come forward in again, and maybe it'll work the next time.
So, Priest, how much Priest is on the set right now? Is on the Zoom, please?
Well, Priest Zara is on. Priest Dougie was having a little microphone trouble, but he's getting that worked out. And then I saw Priest Merle come in for a moment, but he isn't there right now. We'll see. Okay. So Priest Dougie's coming back on now.
Okay.
And, so yeah, maybe 2. If Priest Merle comes forward. Yeah.
Mm. So after celebration, honorables to one and all,
Give thanks. Give thanks.
Yeah, man, as we get ready to celebrate, that big occasion of our father. The 72 nation bow and crown the man, King of Kings and Lords of Lords, conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, Selassie, Jah. Rastafari.
Yes, joyous.
Blessed, my Lord.
Honorable. I just want to add a song to that reasoning about celebration. When I first forward to camp, we usually celebrate from the 2nd to the 11th.
Okay. All right, my Lord, give thanks.
And Jadogi. My Lord, blessed love, Jadogi.
Royal Empress, greetings.
Hey, blessed love, Bobo, give thanks to the man vice again, no man.
Yes, same way. Love and blessing to all the Royal Empress on the line and to all the Royal family,
Glorify Majesty, glorify man. But Jadogi, when we come at camp, right, Jadogi?
Yes, ma'am.
It was the 11th It was the 11th of November, the celebration was going on until we get some word. You know, I can remember when them say, there were, before them even start celebrate, it was a discussion. It was the second, you know, but when we hear about it, we never go at it at the same time, but it was after it started to celebrate it on the second, my lad. So I really don't know, you know, but the fact still remains, say, Mama Crown and Papa Crown pan the second same way. So we're not going to debate it right now. We're going to move on because we want to learn more knowledge and think about our father and our mother and the great work. So we're not going to debate on that, my Lord. Give thanks.
Yeah, man, it's not a debate, you know, we're just sharing information.
Yes, my Lord. Give thanks.
And everyone period, you know, things change and things re-change and
true, Baba. True. Yeah. Glorify.
Honorable my Lord and Empress, on the
My
topic
Lord.
of Empress Menen coronation with His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie, there is a little piece I found of how the Empress Menen was presented with a ring encrusted with diamonds and the robes. And when she was to receive the crown, there is these words from the Archbishop who spoke to Empress Menen, and it says, "As I, with the will of God, have received this crown from your holiness, I request the Empress to receive this crown and partake in the honor with me. Therefore, I request your holiness to put the crown on Empress Menen. Amigo, Selassie. Yeah.
Stop. Watch your man, for sure, my Lord. What you mean? Natural.
Yeah, His Majesty changed up a lot, you know, even when I was reading it, it said he, you know, he changed up
You know, my Lord, you know, my Lord.
The royal family. He made it to be more more decadent than
you know, my Lord, blessed love. You know, Bobo.
Used to be, he wanted to separate it from what the Rastas would give, you know. Make it more outstanding. Empress? Okay.
Yeah, my Lord?
Yeah, I was just saying he the
word, what is happening here now? The word of it, what you're saying is kind of long.
Because like I said, it used to be where they would be crowning
something I've gone bubble with it because
yes, sir, we can hear you.
Your sound is distorted, your sound is distorted.
Yes, and it's slurry. You have a slow thing the bubble.
I think what he's trying to say is that the emperor broke with thousands of years of tradition when he did what he did, because that was the tradition from Ethiopia to Nubia. That was the tradition, and he changed it with that one act, making the woman equal.
Alpha and Omega.
Yes, sir. The balance, you know, giving back the throne, the balance, because it was unbalanced. It was male dominated, you know, after the choosing or the adhering to Christianity, you know, because as we know, Ethiopia is a Christian kingdom. And with the Western interpretation of Christianity, it had set back the woman, you know, taken the woman from her original place. That's why our father, King Emmanuel, always chants it's time for the woman to return to her rightful position. See, because she was removed from that rightful position by religious interpretation, because Africa has always been a matriarchal society, not a patriarchal society. The queens of Africa have always had the last say in how the village, the community, the nation is run, you know. But with religion, we topple that and remove the Empress from the center of our universe and put her in the back. And it became a
greater.
society.
And the greater. And the greater.
Yes, so I come to return back to that balance of the queen and the king sitting on the throne, being equal but separate, you know, one being female, one being male. You know, they are equal in authority, but they have two different functions. One as a mother, you know, one as a father and a protector.
Yes, equity.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I can be heard now. Is clear.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes, brother.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes on Zoom you have to leave and come forward again, you know. I don't know why, but if you're ever trying to get in the meeting and you're having a problem, just leave and then try again. Next time it might work out better.
Yes, sir.
But yes, I was saying, I don't know if you could hear me before, but I was saying like His Majesty, he changed up a lot of different things, you know, because even what I was reading is that he changed up the crowns for the princes and the princesses and for the Empress too, you know, because it used to be they weren't really that different from, say, like the Ras. The outstanding Rasses would get crowns too at times, you know. So he made the ones for the noble family to have more workmanship and also like more diamonds and things.
Yeah, you think gone again.
That to make it. He changed up his banner because he had his own that had more golden embroidery. And to breaking up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess if somebody else could talk then, because
Comes on board.
Somebody had trouble with today, man. Somebody I mess with it today, you know, man. Sure.
Them can't prevail. Them can't prevail.
Can't
Just press
prevail,
along.
Sister Lily. Can't
Just
prevail,
press
man.
along. Yeah, just press along.
In his
Yeah,
own
Dougie, go on
way.
co-host now, my lord. Go on. Please, Dougie.
Yes, Empress.
Go ahead and co-host, please, Prophet Daniel say that someone must take over.
All right.
As the elder leading priest, my lord.
Yeah.
Teach us something.
So,
Teach us something.
and then Jadogi.
Yes, Empress.
We want you to give some talk, some words upon priests or priests for manifest themselves, you know. So we're not gonna dwell upon Mama Coronation and Papa Coronation. You know, we do want really, because we had the reasoning couple from last week or the week before, we had talked about the priests them and them work on how priests will live and do the work of the Father still, you know. And she's a man, I'm glad you're on, so you could give some kind of words from the priest would order to my Lord, give thanks.
Yes, Mama.
Yes, I.
Yeah, well, I'll start by saying the work of the priest, you know, as we have been taught, you know, is to make the crooked straight. You know, what do man mean by that? I mean, we come to establish the law of the Almighty. And it's not just word sound, it's true and I live it. You know, and that is where we are having a problem right now. And we're going to talk, I personally, I'm not here to perform. So this is not a performance for I can talk from my heart. I know that we're not going to agree on everything. So
right.
I'm not trying to be offensive to anyone. I am just expressing myself as a priest from my heart. See, not making it clear right now.
True, my Lord.
I come learn this from the Father. See, and even looking at His Majesty's actions, even at the coronation and onward, because the Father, His Majesty called an ecumenical conference, which is the gathering of priests, bishops, all people of the cloth in
True.
in 1965. That conference was called, it was 1,500 years was the last conference of that kind. 1,500 years before the emperor called the one he called. And when he called it, if I and I don't have it before me at the moment, and I'm sorry I'm not prepared. I should have been prepared to read his opening comments at that ecumenical conference. Why he called it?
Okay.
He called it because in his opening speech, he said that religion has become obsolete in people's life. Because like life is an ever-evolving thing, you know, it's ever-evolving. Change is the ultimate. It's the only constant thing that happens in life, change. And if we don't evolve with life, then we become obsolete. If the salt has lost its flavor, it has no use but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot or under feet. So that is the whole essence of His Majesty calling the conference, to bring back the order, to reestablish the order in a practical way that is fitting to the people's here and now. No, so for I and I, we are living in the 21st century right now, and many things in life have changed. Now, the foundation of our liberty will never change, but there are practices and principles that need to evolve. We need to grow with them. We need to refine them to make them more practical to our here and now in how we live. We need to make them more attractive to the younger generation, that the younger generation can see the reality that I and I saw, because we saw glory when we came to this order. That's why we walked, and that's why we devoted our life to this order. Now, as priests, we are held to a higher standard than the average person. We are not better than anyone, you know, but we are held to a higher standard because our discipline is supposed to be of a higher level. You know, we're supposed to know the commandments just naturally, you know, no tale bearing, no bearing false witness, no adultery. We're supposed to know these things. Those commandments are supposed to be part of our life, part of our DNA, our way in which we deal with one another. The question is asked, how do you know the disciples of Christ? By the love, not by the uniform, not by the dress, not by the love.
Yes.
We sing it, and we sing it. We say the whole of the love I and I have, the whole of the love. We not have piece of the love. We not have some of the love. We say we have the whole of the love. How do we show that?
Well, no, they have peace. They don't know nothing name whole of peace. Not him have none.
Because we're not seeing it. We're not feeling it. You know, we're not sharing it. Because we have to share the love. And in that love, part of love is forgiveness. Because we are all imperfect, Aya. We are all imperfect. We are trying to
my lord. Tell them, man. Tell them, Bobo. Oh my God.
We are working towards becoming better and better every day. That's supposed to be the role of a priest and empress within the order. Trying to be better every day. Because our job, you know, is to leave the thing better than we found it. It's to leave it better.
Then mash you up and left it, Jadoggy. Mash you up and left it.
They didn't know what they have. We did not know. And I will not say they, because we are all part of the construct. And we all have to bear. If we win as a team, we win. If we lose as a team. We all have to bear the blame. Even though we individually may not commit an act that causes certain things, but as a family, we are a family. We have to bear. When outsiders look at Bobo, them don't say da Bobo there and da Bobo there. Them say Bobo.
True. Yeah, man. For sure.
We represent one another. Yes, we represent one another. We represent one another, Rasta.
True, my lord. True, Jadog.
When we have a problem, we're not supposed to make that problem go outside the gate. So some person outside the gate can have a comment about our internal problem. We supposed to be prideful and deal with our internal problem internally.
For sure. For
And deal with
sure.
it uprightly, and not because we are
Well,
friends, not because I love Mama Lily and I love, Mama Maisie. There's a problem between the two of them. Because I love them, I'm going to deal with it justly from the right and wrong point of view.
Oh, you mean majesty? Oh, you mean naturally? Yes.
Because that is the true love, The true love is not being partial, because me and you, Irie, I'm going to be partial and support you in your wrong. Because I'm helping you to falter. I am helping you to falter.
Of course.
I am not lifting you up and making you, pushing you towards the right so you can become more right in yourself. I'm helping you to go downhill.
That's right.
That kind of love. I Priest Dougie, don't need that love there. I don't need that love there. No one enough. When I wrong, I want my sisters and brother to say,
exactly.
You're
exactly.
wrong. It's just, you're going to say it now. Don't say it to mash me up. Please. Don't say it for destroy me. Don't say it to
the word create, and it describable. So you have to know how to say it.
Say it to me in a way that is palatable, that I will receive it and I will meditate upon it and then take heed to it. Don't say it for destroy my spirit, man, that all of a sudden now, every time I see you, it's a bad taste I get in my vibes.
My lad. My lad.
I'm not so Dada teach you. I'm not so That's not the teaching of Christ.
No compassion, Dread.
No. And that's the thing about I and I. We condemning. And none of us. And none of us have that
no compassion.
I see with the priest them too, Jadogi, they lie out of this world.
That is another thing. But that's another thing. When you pass a certain stage, when you are no longer an adolescent, a child, what is the need to lie? Why is there the need to lie? Because really and truly, no man can come put me over them leg, or no woman can put me over them leg, You can only chastise me. You can only chastise me with word.
With your
and
word.
That word will make me better.
With your mouth and your tongue.
Yes, and that word will make me better if you chastise me in the proper way. You understand? Because chastisement don't mean to cuss you out and make you feel less than you are. Chastisement means to point out that, brethren, you're walking down into that miry clay there, So, turn forward to the light. The light is what we're supposed to be heading towards. The truth and the right is what we're supposed to be.
Glory road.
That is the live. That is the live. We can't.
Right now, Jadogi, the priest, they want to go to school, go learn how to manifest themselves as a priest. What them to do?
The prophet and the Empress, them too, all us.
Yeah.
It's Jerusalem schoolroom.
Yeah, but the priest, Sister Lily, the priest is to make the dirty clean and to make the crooked straight and the dirty clean. And enough of them are cause the problem right now, even in a foundation they hire. Yeah. Some of the priests, them don't want to hear a word out of their mouth. And then go to altar, me not bother listen to them because them life is not good.
That's not right. And that's not right. That is not the order. That is not the order. Because if you cannot abide by the principle, then go live it, Rasta. Leave the order alone. And there's no shame in that, Look how much one come and chat because them can't live it. No, there's no shame in that, man. Go live your life. But if you're living the live and you're representing the order, you have to live it by principle.
Mm-hmm.
That don't mean you're perfect, That don't mean you're perfect. You might hear or you might falter here, but that is why we are a brotherhood and sisterhood. Because right away, Sister Lily is going to be there for draw me up and say, Priest Dougie, you shouldn't do that, No, man, that's not right. Mama, maybe is going to be there to say, Daniel, you shouldn't did. That's why we are here. And I as a priest is there to accept those corrections and make ourselves right, that our light can shine. There is no disrespect in acknowledging your faults. There is no disrespect and there is no anyone that look down on you because you acknowledge your faults and you are working to repair them. It's them who need help. You understand? Because we are all fallible. We are all fallible. We're living in a
That's
corrupt world. We live in a corrupt world with some wicked reptilian people, man, with some things that is going on in life that is so corrupt that it's hard not to get a little bit tainted as you go through the dirty society. So when you get back to your place, when you get back to your camp, when you get back to your monastery, when you get back to your place of abode, that is what you do. You read your psalm, you go down on your knee and you pray. You read your psalm and you purge yourself. Yes, you wash off that thing where you pick up when you go out there, and you clean off your thing, you make your robe white again. You take the stain out of your robe and you make your robe white by your actions, not just by your words, not just by praying and get up and doing the same thing tomorrow, but by your actions, by making a deliberate choice to do better. That is the role of the priest. This casting when we see the man them have and always I know some that is not what I saw when I came to camp. When I come to IRP them and when I come to Priest John and oh man, when I come to
I saw godliness.
when I come to the Drinking Giant, Jabil, man like all Jabil. Jabil couldn't even mash hands the way the man they so
I'm telling you,
so loving and so
like
sweet.
angels, like angels.
Oh, but I know why I come see. No, we had no problems. Like I said, there's no, but not this. Not what I'm seeing today. Not how we rest against each other. There's different cliques, different camps, different ideology. Man teaching different things from what Dada they teach. All together. That teaching brought us together. That's why we ended up in camp. That's why camp is so full in those days, because that teaching was pure and it brought people from all over the world, from different stations in life, doctors to broom makers. You understand? It brought all type of people to the camp because it was pure. Like Messiah always say, it was sweeter than honey and the honeycomb. Mm-hmm. That is what it was about. The role of the priest is not just to go up on the altar. This is not a dancehall thing. It's not a set thing where you are the DJ. The role of the priest is to lead by example.
That's right.
The sermons that you preach must be what you are living. The lessons that you are teaching must be what you are living.
My Lord, you see the priest them too, Baba. I notice with the priest them is so dark and ignorant. Like that, like the darkness just take over them. The least you could say to them gone and them cussing you and them is so, sometimes I have to wonder, how not priest? Them don't know nothing about a priest without a Baba.
We're not virgin. That's why Dada did establish the physical hyssop drinking, the single Bible drinking, purge me with hyssop until I become one.
That.
You know why? It's the purging. We have to purge. We have to purge by reading our Psalms, intaking the good word, and that good word coming us and push out the badness out our way. We have to purge. The man them is not purging. The woman them is not purging. We all just accept. We think say we're right because we wrap our head and we say, Bubba, we right. No, right is how we live. And not how you just live as an individual, how you live one to another. How you share the love amongst your brother and sister. How you minister that love. The man said, place the food within the children reach. Minister to them uprightly, one to another.
Hey, why enough people don't know what is uprightly? They don't know what is uprightly. Right? None to what going on there. Anything goes, Bobo. Anything goes. Yeah? Anything goes right now, go on their yard.
We're making poverty dictate how we live. We're making materialism dictate how we live. You understand? Because the man them fighting for power because them thinks that when them get the power, them going to get a better living. See? No, just like the law can't save you, It's by drawing closer to the Almighty that saves I and I. By being more like him. By trying your work to do is what save I and I.
By keeping the law.
By keeping the law. I know you keep the law. Living it. Being
That's
the
right.
law. The law is not just a word.
Same.
No, right now. No, I just talk right now, but the lady far gone. Far gone, I just chat. Yeah, because them can't chat. But what the
Them
lady
go
to
come
do
forward.
it far gone.
One day when
Far gone.
them same chat gonna grab them and choke them and say, come live this here. Stop chat. I tired of you chat, come live this. And them have to go live it.
Them have a whole saying.
Because
Them have a whole
them
saying.
have a little saying, say, it's not everything good for it's not everything good for eat, good for chat. Yeah. But
And
my
there's
lad, let me
another
tell you.
whole saying that say cock mouth kill cock by what you say. If you do
Yes.
what you say, you
Yeah,
are gonna be
you
held
know,
to it.
you
You're
have
gonna
to
be
know
held
what
to
you're
it.
saying still. You have
Yes,
to
you're
know
gonna
what
be
you
held
say
to it.
still, you know?
You're
True.
gonna be held to it. You're gonna be held
Because
to your
let
word.
me tell you no man. Let me tell you no man. And me talk it all a while. Nothing wrong with that foundation that the man lay. It's the people that will live in it cause if we be talking about. But the foundation is poor, pure. Yeah? But are the people them?
Enlighten
You know,
the
see,
soul.
in this
Enlighten
last
the heart.
judgment.
It make yeah. Your teaching is pure, man. It
So
enlighten.
the priests, them, my lord, the priests, them go looking at themselves and see how them a live. The priest with the other man. They need, I just said, they need teaching. They don't know nothing about your priest with the other higher. You know, see, they don't know so them for a priest should have ready when service. I sit down in a tabernacle and wait. You know,
So
see, like what we
gonna-
have there. Come, my lord, let me tell you something, you know, one at a time, you know. Congregation are actually full before service starting, you know, my lord. You know, see, and we're ready to sit down in a tabernacle before service start. We should have already bought through the priest, them go sit down in our commune with what all the service are going run today. And when the service ready now, they march out and take the altar. All that I did I said to you know, my lad. You know, see it.
A room
I
next
know.
to the fasting room. A room next to the fasting room.
Right, Empress. And the youth man, them should have lead out the priest, them, no? When them are going to take the altar.
Yes.
You see it. And the congregation ready for the service. No, you can't even find man to cap the service in this last judgment.
I have a question. Can I be heard?
Yes, sir.
My
Yeah,
Lord
my
and
Lord.
Empress. So
Yes,
it was said that the priests need to be taught. They don't know anything about being a priest. Who is to teach them?
Eh?
Who can teach them?
Elders. Yeah, elders. If the elders not right, neither they can't teach nobody.
I was gonna say elders up there, right?
The whole thing is Virgin, the whole thing has frazzled. We have to start from square one. We have to, you know, among us, we know who are the ones that have aspired to live their life to a standard. You know, we have to acknowledge one another, acknowledge the divineness in one another, know each other, know who is who that we can trust to put in a specific office. Understand? And then, you know, select, put those ones in that office. We need to reform a council of elders that is consisted of empress and priests. And those elders now become the advisors to the Congress.
Totally agree.
Who advise now, you know, if there's a situation, just even for rectifying problems. You call the council, you bring it to the council. See, the council now will look at it and see if it is something that is worth their time to sit down or if it's something that you all should work out together as individuals. You know, and we're supposed to have an order. It's an order. We keep saying, using the word, you know, but we don't seem to know what that word means. It's an order. It's a priesthood order. The order means that it has a way in which it functions. There is no way, there is no order to our liberty right now. How do you really identify a young priest and know when he's ready to go to the next stage? From an acting priest or from a prophet to an acting priest to a leading priest. We don't even just give man priesthood and there's no order to the thing. We have no guidance amongst ourselves. We don't respect one another where we can sit down together as a council and take counsel from each other. There is no one leader. Jah did done that gone. There is no one divine entity. Jah left a council. What they want to call it, committee, parliament, all the pretty name them, is the same thing. Jah left a council where we're supposed to be brothers and sisters dealing with our Father's work. We're supposed to have the love for each other and the respect for each other, that we sit together and we counsel together. We listen. We have to listen to each other. We can't just be the one wanting to dominate, and because you think you know everything and you know the other. No, we listen to one another. We listen to Empress music. We listen to even the little youth who are just coming in. Listen to what him have to say, so you learn where his meditation is, so you know how to counsel him.
Because God just speak to everyone. Just speak to everyone.
Everyone.
That's right. Even the baby suckling can tell you to bring something out his mouth that Jah put in his heart for you to learn.
One of my greatest lessons I learned as a Bobo, I learned from a young prophet. Seeing as a simple story. So when him come to that, learn what unconditional love is. So I'm listening to him and he's saying, well, let me explain to you what I mean, Pre. He said, a man live downtown, and one evening I go home and I remember the father tell I say, even the madman have him say. So he said, I don't take it that. He said, I go home and mad come up
Bobo.
but when him look at him, the man well dirty and something like so tight.
Hello.
So tight. Yes, sir.
We couldn't really hear you. It's kind of muffled a bit.
Are you hearing better now?
Yes, my lord.
Yes, like I said, the most profound lesson I learned from a young prophet who told me that when he came to the Father, he learned what compassion is and what unconditional love is. He said, you remember the Father telling him that even the madman have him say, so don't look down on him. So one day, he lived downtown in Kingston, and he was going home, and this madman was coming up the street talking to himself and talking. But he noticed that the madman well dirty, don't bathe in a while, and he had something wrapped around a couple fingers that was stifling the fingers, and he was about to lose them. Him saying pass him and almost reach home, and something in him just never feel right to see him just passing brother, and it's never him turn back and go look for him. And when he find him, you know, as a madman, people think they are very apprehensive, very scared of people. So when the Bobo approached him, he kind of, you know, defend himself and went away. The Bobo had to walk up to him, and as dirty as he was and as smelly as he was, he had to throw his arm around him and hug him to neutralize that apprehension and that fear. And then take time now and guide him and take him with him and carry him home. Him carry him to his house. Him bathe him, give him a suit of clothes, and then him carry him to the hospital, to public hospital, for them to treat him and things like that. You see, well, after the youth tell I the story, that story stay with I all my life, Rust. That story stay with me and all my life to show me what unconditional love is. He had nothing to gain from doing that more than to show his brother love. Show him that somebody cared, even in your heights and problem and whatever it is that's affecting that person. Even if it's them conscience, them works that they did in the past, whatever it is, was affecting them. What they need to know that them wasn't cast off, them wasn't abandoned and totally forgotten, that some love still there in the world. And that is what the youth showed that person. That's why it's a great act and a great lesson. That is the essence of what the priesthood order is supposed to be. Sharing the love, the whole of the love where we sing them.
Yes, my Lord. Thanks for sure. Yeah, the floor is open still. We want to discuss the coronation of His and Her Majesty as well, but the floor is open. Anything that's on one's heart or mind, any questions, anything to say or share.
You know what? I said, look, you know what I get from that lesson which Dougie was saying? Honorable?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm hearing you.
I was saying that Dada did see said that man hand did need fixing. So Dada placed that seed in that youth heart and no say he had that work for that youth to do. So he tell him say even a madman have a say, and don't scorn him. So he see the madman now, brother in despair. He just say that he had to do something because Jah already planted the seed in his heart, So Jah works in a mysterious ways, his wonders to perform.
Yes, sir.
It's love, the whole of the love. Man say love and all laws and prophet commands upon the face of the earth. The priest supposed to be the epitome of love, the example of love. That's why the disciples of Christ by the love. We supposed to be the example of what love is, true unconditional love. But that does not exist in the earth right now. And it definitely don't exist amongst I and I right now.
I know the fleshy love.
It does.
The fleshy love man them I carry. Fleshy love right
I
now.
I just feel some love for my brother and my sister, my Lord. I can't say it.
Oh, yes. We have some nice brethren into the time,
Lord,
Sister
some
Lily.
nice sisters, man.
Nice brethren. But we in a house
just good words.
We see
Just
water
good
come on
words.
my yard. We see water turn on my drum. It was my king, man. And my beloved brethren them. We had some
Good
nice
words,
brethren. I come to the foundation.
That's what the camp yard is supposed to be. That's what the camp yard teach you, When we used to carry water, when Mama Lily them in a house, Mama Lily them get water, not from our king man. It is our duty as brethren to make sure so the daughter them have what them need. It should do it for your sister before she's your wife, It's your sister.
And then when you come out of the house, you don't have to do nothing for the brethren. You don't have to do a thing. But true love and same way, true love and things same way, and respect it. Wash a two little piece of clothes for him and so on. So you show about that loyalty to him. Just like you can remember, say you're in a house, you need a pan of water or you need a strength and he's there for you. When you come out, he's there for him universally. Universally. You understand? But them days they're done, Baba. Them days they're done.
I remember them days, Mama. I remember them days when I couldn't wait for the item for free up. And when we're looking at the all 4, 5, 6, 7 Empress inside there, we know so we come a service that day because that service they're going.
What you mean, man?
Not nice, Not nicer than when not nicer than when the coarse voice of the man them blend with the sweet angelic voice of the woman them. You get
I mean, oh my God! Those were the days.
A Zion.
You see, when we pass down the road all the next morning, the people them we were past, I said, Boba, we here on the last night, man. On the sound like angel, man. You know how much time them said that to I and I pass, I go a road to go hustle, and them said, Boba, we here on the last night, man, and it sound like angel, man.
That's how beautiful Zion must be, Yeah, how beautiful Zion must be. I'm telling you, man. Jadogi, those were some wonderful days of, when you sit down and remember the beautiful days that passed. And you wish and you pray that those days will come back.
Just hold on to them. Just hold on to them.
No, but are we, that a teach we say, if it's sweet, are we? If it's sour, are we? It's I and I is in control of I and I destiny, man. We're making poverty control with destiny when it's I and I to be in control of our destiny. Because we need, we make ourselves get bitter and make ourselves get caught up into thoughts that are not pure for a priest and an empress because we are in need, because we might think that somebody else over there have it better than we. No, We can't make poverty dictate the love. The love
Right
have to
now,
dictate.
Jadog, right now, my heart is sad, I am. My heart is very sad. But right now, me I get hold, my lad. I don't know what's going to be up and down the road for I and I. Right now, I not see nothing set on foundation for the elders. Nothing set, my Lord.
That's the scary part,
Nothing.
Mama. That's the scary
Yeah.
part of it. And the thing is, you know what is amazing to me? I look at all the other brethren them and they are getting elder too, and the sisters them getting elder. Aren't we seeing that we are getting ancient? It's supposed to be wiser, and within that wisdom supposed to be able to bring us together and bond us together. We
Right
supposed
now,
to
me not see
supposed
some
to have
that
an army of
not
youth.
go on right now. Everybody far apart.
We supposed to have an
Everybody
army of
far
youth
apart.
amongst you right now. We
There is
supposed
no
to have
coming together. There is no coming together. There is no working as oneness. There is no preparation for nothing more than what them want. You understand? There is nothing for the elders. You see, we get old and we can manifest again. You can manifest the work again, and there is nothing for us. And that is the truth.
and that
The
not right.
truth, and no man can come contest that. That is the truth. There is nothing for iron after we come up a foundation and our young stage of life. Do all the work and do we all in all, and now we get told there is nothing for iron. No benefit, no nothing. So we in our government in this last judgment. You know, see it.
And what I see, I look at a site like this, the Bobo East Coast chat site here on WhatsApp, and you have a whole lot of young youths, but they have no guidance. They don't know anything about the live. Them just say Bobo and they regurgitate little things that they hear, but they don't know because they have no guidance. There's no shepherd shepherding them. You understand? There is no shepherd guiding them.
Why Jadogi? Because the young youth, when them come with them little humble heart, when them do them walk them send them this, so then send them this, so, and when them listen, then see man a chat here, so, and man a chat here, so there is no, and after a while, they don't want no teaching from them. They find fault with them. They might tell them, so no can come tell me nothing, can I live nothing, and them start to do them one thing, my Lord.
And you know why that happened, Mama? You know why that happened? Because, yes, Priest Dougie gonna talk about Mama Maisie in front of them. And Priest Dougie gonna talk about Mama Do, and them a talk about Priest Dougie over there. So, and it's the same elder. It's Elder me here attack against Elder. That's what the youth are going to tell you. The youth are going to tell you, says Elder me here attack against Elder.
Of course, many times you see the young man, then come check kind of life. They know every string we make we up. They know we life, and we don't know them.
That is not right.
Tell us
that is not right. That is not right. That is not the way of Christ. That is not the way the Father teach way. No tail bearing. You understand? Man, that is not how we, and that's why we have no order. You understand? Because from a man, get a little crew amongst him start to preach against the next man over there. So because I don't want him crew start to give no respect to the man over there. So
and we burn crew right now. Okay, there's no crew supposed to in another yard more than one order in this last judgment. You know, see it. One order, and it's Prince Emmanuel order. Everybody come with them could division. And if me not like you, me not walk with you. I mean, I take no word from you.
Yes.
You know, see it. And that are going right now.
Yes.
How could you comfortable? How can one comfortable know where you are coming from? The work we put down, the principle we live on foundation. And look where it is right now. There is none. Right? People just come and do what they might do. You know, see, you can't talk to them. Because when them come, you wasn't living anything. They never see you, I live no. So you know, you cannot speak to them. Because they're not taking any word. You understand? And that have to change, my Lord. That have to change. Empress, but who have to change it? Who have to change it?
I don't put here for judge my brother them way there. I personally don't have nothing bad to say about no man or no woman. Everyone have got answer for themselves, you know. You see, my thing is to establish the order as all the fathers taught I and I. He taught I and I. He brought us to his side, you know, through love, and taught us the way of salvation. The way of salvation is the way of life and the way to life, to preserve your soul in this life. And he
My
taught
Lord.
us that. Out of
Them
love, him
say-
taught I and I that. And we
them
turn
say,
on now
"Ooh."
and we appreciate months to say.
Them say, who feels it, Jadogi, knows it, right? I come to a wonderful foundation. The light was so bright when I come and see that light of shining glory. And I say, yes, Lord, I'm at the right place. I am in Zion. Yeah? No sin cannot enter there because God is with us. God is right here. The Black Christ
I rise up
right
with,
here.
I rise up with a man. I rise up with a virgin called Priest Gifted. I'm serious, my virgin Priest Gifted. Yeah. See,
And them man, that was
those
great, man.
them man them me right. Them man them me know about. Them
Great
teaching
man.
them. Hey, me never hear Priest Gifted talk against a man. Me not hear priest.
Something have to happen, Jadogi.
So,
You're not gonna say don't talk, but something have to happen when you hear
yes,
people
man. No,
say
man. The
anything.
way the man
Something have to
they
happen.
the way the man they rest, the way the man they live. The man they used to work 24/7. When we that yard, man. Yo, when that I call ISIS, we have 21-day ISIS. Give a minister almost every night and we go a road same way. You know when we get rest, and the bus going to town and the bus coming back from town. Because from we come off of the bus and reaching a camp, we dey back on it again. Straight all night till the morning. And them man them rise up with soldier, real priest. Well, love the other.
May the man's soul rest in peace, my Lord.
Yo, the Father gave a minister of service. That office was created during them man the time because of the divineness with them man they carry.
There were some wonderful times, man. There were some beautiful, marvelous moments in the foundation of God, of the EABIC. You know, beautiful. You know, those memories keep me going, you know. I give thanks and praises unto the Black God. Yes, I.
Priest Brownie, man, we
Yeah,
love him.
I'm meditating to, you know, Priest Brownie,
Love
man.
him.
Quiet now, man, you know.
Love, I say loving. Enough move me and them man, they make tone and thing, man. I say loving, man. When
Priest
the man they move, I say when you move into with them man, there you book all market people and book people downtown. Everybody know him and everybody love him. That is a loving. That is all because his glory shine it.
Yes, yes. Him live it to shine it, Bobo.
Yes, man.
Royalty, you know. Royal.
The man they go market, the man they can go to market and do have $1 and come home with food. Because of the love, because of all the vibe where the man carry, the love where the man carry, man.
In those days, my Lord.
Priest T, Priest Humble, Priest Jai, Prophet Jai. I mean, I grew up with some great man, some real.
You remember George Allardyce? George Allardyce, our name? You remember him, Jadogi? George, Priest Georgie.
Priest Georgie, of course, man. When did have the stomach problem, man? Yeah, man.
Yes, I. Yeah.
When I come to camp next door to him, I live, you know, he was a very stern man, but a very principled man. He was very stern, very principled, and very loving. Those three things combined.
Intellect with words, eh?
Combined.
Intellect with words. Intellect with words.
And if he had one slice of bread, he might share it with you. If he had one, as stern as he was, if he had one slice of bread, he would have shared it with you. That was Priest George.
And the man, intellect with words here. And use some words on me and tell you, I have to wise when you talk to Priest George, you know, man. Yeah, you have to listen to him and talk to him, chat to him teeth. Yes, I.
Priest George was another weapon. Me and the man, they make enough move a road.
Yeah.
Priest Miggy, another stalwart in the thing. Priest Miggy. Love that man there. You understand? People can bring up things. If we want to search for faults, we will find faults. I am talking of the good side of the bridging them that I know.
Yeah, you know.
Their good side outweighed any negative that they had in them.
That's true. That's true, my Lord. That's true. We give thanks, man. Glorify, you know.
Yeah,
You still have to
give
pray
thanks.
for the peace of Jerusalem.
What about the future now? You know?
Good question, Daniel. Good question. Yeah. What about the future now?
Where the Father did say, we have to find back the first love. We have to find it back. If we can't find back the first love, we can't reestablish back the other. We have to find back the first love, the love that brought you to the camp, the love that made you stay in the liberty. We have to find back that first love, that love for one another. Because love, the man say, what you do unto the least of one, you do unto him, you know. What we do unto the least of one another is what we do to him. We have to start to look back to that principle, you understand, where we care for one another, Rasta, and stop look for whatever we're looking for right now, man. We need to look to the love of one another, you understand? Check upon one another. No say, Mama Maisie, Mama Lily in Ethiopia, Mama Maisie there in Jamaica, recently, we have to ancient them. Oh, we know them living, them all right, them healthy. We know, we're checking upon one another. Are we our brothers and sisters keeper? Do we know that they are all right because they're up in our age? Most of I and I up in our age where we can't do the things that we used to do to provide for ourselves the way we used to provide for ourselves back in the day. See? The youth are supposed to be there to be our strength. But the youth is not respecting the elder because the elder is not living divine. The elder is not establishing that principle where the youth feel that it is their duty to come and support the live, support the order, walk with us so we can pass on our little knowledge to them and they can value us, see the value, see the, see the purpose why Jah placed I and I here. But we feel that, the youth them now see that, the youth them now feel that, so the youth them now listen. The youth them is like the young elephant without the parents. They are doing their own thing and a lot of times going off track because them just don't know. I and I have to find back that first love, that that respect for one another, where we are now willing to sit and speak with one another, not to, but with one another, and share the love again, break bread again, carry each other in our hearts, in our divine way again, Rasta. Just like how we just talk about those brethren and sisters that we came to camp and saw and lived with and learned from.
Yes, I get thanks. And when you say need to find back the first love, you mean like your generation of ones, or do you mean in general?
In general, because you all don't even know what that love is. You all don't get to taste it. We have not provided the atmosphere that you all can come and experience it. Not because Dada not here. Dada teacher and I, we supposed to be able to create that same atmosphere that when the item come, the item can feel that same divineness that I and I felt, Rasta. Then what was Dada doing there? He was teaching us to do that. That was what we were there to learn. But it seemed like that is not what we were there doing. Because we're not showing that he taught us. Right now, we make Dada look, yo, the man said, make your light shine, that man and men may see and glorify him. How is I and I living today that making ones and ones glorify King Emmanuel? We're becoming a byword. You see, during the time of the Father, no matter who you were, no matter what, there was respect. You never have to love him, you know, but them respect the man there. The police commissioner, the eagle up on the street, no matter who it was, the soldier man, The other Rasta man them out there all respected that man because he lived and earned that Rasta through him livity. Not through money. Because the man said it was a sackcloth and ashes. That it started off as a sackcloth and ashes livity. And we rise from lowland to highland, from that to palace living. Seeing? So it wasn't the money that made the world see that man and respect that man. It was his divine livity. He set a standard. He spoke on behalf of the poor and the have-not and the disenfranchised. He was willing to give up his life for him, brother. If we not acknowledge them liberty, then there's no order. Because that's the order. That's the foundation of the order.
No, like regarding like the foundation though, like all right, the situation is like it's it's not a whole lot of people like how it used to be, to keep it vibrant like how y'all describe it, So what's I mean, not to talk too much about like future plans necessarily, but just like how could that come again, Because
no good no left in Babylon.
It's
no good no left in Babylon, priest, Prophet Daniel. No good no left in time to look to Africa. Seeing the love still in Africa, the village living still in Africa. No matter even if you have to go deep in the interior to find it.
My Lord.
No love exists here in the West. You understand? Camp. We love camp because it's the foundation, and if the foundation be destroyed, what would the righteous do? But right now, it's time to transfer the foundation to the east. So what we need to do is to be preparing a place for our elders to come home to, so them can come home, come live the dream, come live them vision, come taste the milk and honey in a Zion. Mama Maisie and Priest Edley need to go home now, go live some decent life, go enjoy Zion a little bit. You understand? All the elders them that reach up in a them stages need to look to Africa now and go home, go live some Africa life and get away from this Babylon life, because as we see, it's not getting better out here. It's getting worse and it's affecting us. No matter how much good intentions one have, we are unable to bring those good intentions together to make a difference. But in Africa, the people looking to I and I, looking to Rastafari, seeing Rastafari earn that respect through the livity of Haile Selassie I, Empress Menen, the Honorable Prophet Marcus Garvey, and the Honorable Priest King Emmanuel. They have paved that way, opened that door for us. We need to walk through that door before it closes and go enjoy some of that real, livity that is there awaiting us. There, we may have a chance of reconstructing, the divine order. No, I'm not saying that while we are out here, we mustn't live good and have a plan to get there. Because there has to be a plan to get there. It's not just going to happen randomly. We have to come together and construct a way in which we can send home a family at a time, 10 family at a time, whatever it is, in a sustainable way where they can go there and enjoy life and not go there go suffer worse than them suffering here. See? So we need a whole for work, a whole for talking, whole for reasoning need for go on amongst I and I, whole for planning need for go on, and then whole for work, physical work to achieve the plan needs to be put into action. That is where the youth come in, because we don't have the strength, we have the wisdom, we show on the way, and we carve out the way for I and I. You understand? Because them have the strength. But we have to find back that first love, earn back that respect of the congregation, that the congregation can, do what is needed to be done to make the liberty possible. I do have all the answers, and I'm not claiming to know everything. I do have all the answers. I just know that is how the Father did show it. And especially in the last days of the Father being here, I and the Father used to reason a lot. And the Father's whole thing was Africa. In place that in him, get angry at I over that. See, Africa, go home, head home. No good, no there. I'm not nail another nail in a camp yard there. See, and not rising another big gathering in this camp yard there. Go home. Tell the bridging them over, so that's the word him gave I when I was coming forward the last time to the US. The man said, tell the bridging them over there that can afford to buy them ticket and go home, make them way home. And while they are home, prepare for the homecoming of the others. We are disobedient children, so we're bearing the judgment then, since there's no other way to say it, the judgment of our disobedience. Because he taught us the way. He showed us the way. He lit the lamp and left on the way that we could see the path. We blow the light. With our darkness, we blow the light. We attack one another. We lambaste one another. It's all foolishness. It all leads to nothing, to suicidal action.
Yes, my Lord. Mm-hmm. Well,
that's why we read Psalms. Why do we read Psalms? Why do we read Psalms first thing in the morning? Why do we read Psalms? Why do we read Psalms? What's the purpose of reading the Psalm? To establish that energy within I and I self. You see,
Psalm is cutting and
yes, and without that, Rasta, we're not cutting and clearing nothing. Without the those are the weapons that the man leave us with, Him leave us with the tools and the weapons that we need to protect ourselves and to build. But we're not utilizing them uprightly. And I used to look forward to Psalms reading, Rasta. When you left morning devotion, you feel
strong. You feel strong for the whole day.
Feeling
weak, you feel strong because you both get the Psalms reading and you both get the energy from the sun, the vitamin D.
But it shows you how many people on this call right now, how much real priests, where the priests them don't know about it. Them don't know about it. Them know ones and ones, no ones don't care.
Yeah, we need to hear some other we need to hear some more priests of them input,
Yes.
Yeah, them understand what going on, or if them glorify the reason. And we need to hear the honorable empresses them too, so we can also we are connect, we are connect.
We need to hear all the voices, not the same
all the voices, Bobo. All the voice, man and woman.
Yes, not the same voice every time. We need to hear all the voices so we can know.
So open the floor. Open the floor and let me hear some voices.
The floor is always open, but it's not always that there's other, even because everybody's not gonna call.
Silent, man. Too much silent.
And if you're on it, don't afraid for input if you're on it, because what is Majesty say? It is the silence of those who should have spoken and the inaction of those who should have acted that have allowed evil to thrive. Remember that speech, It is what? It is the voice of reason that kept silent, and the inaction of those who should have acted that have allowed evil to thrive. by not speaking up, by not speaking truth to power. We allow evil to be the dominant force. Then we have to now come and fight that evil.
Pray the Honorable.
My Lord.
Yes.
Give thanks, my Lord, for the reasoning, my Lord. I want to share a word, my Lord. I'm hearing the reasoning of the Honorable, and I give thanks, man, for such words, my Lord, like about unconditional love, my Lord. That is something I really reason a lot, my Lord, because like you see, sometimes there is like excuses amongst people to really give their whole of the love, give their full love for people, like because of problems of the past and stuff like that. But what happens is, like, if you had a problem with a brethren, like let's say 3 months ago, today when you meet with that brethren, you are not the same person, and the brethren is not the same person that they were when they argued. So sometimes you put like conditions over things that you cannot really put up front. Love is really an unconditional thing, that when we really learn how it is, my Lord, like the way the Father loves us is like that. The man never said like, I love you, but what him said is, if you love me, you keep my commandments. But him always love you, my Lord and Empress. Him always love us. So yes, I give thanks, because this reasoning brings like what I'm visioning here, like from what you are saying. Like Empress Macy says that sometimes, that at the moment the elders them have nothing, and of course that if you have nothing, it will become you will need to look for how to provide for yourself. And when you are in that struggle, you will not be in the best capabilities to teach. Now, if we want the teaching to continue, and we are seeing the need of our elders, that because of them not having such a strength, they are not doing the teaching part in the best of their capabilities, because they also have to look for things to provide for themselves.
Strong
So
sound.
if we can take that reasoning and really see how we can strengthen our elders for the teaching to continue, for the elders to have the time, and for the elders to have the strength to really occupy the office of the Father, which is minister upon the altar, and teaching to each other. So I give this reasoning like based on what is being said, my Lord. I am a prophet from Colombia. I've been a prophet since 2014, and I've really seen, my Lord, that there is a well, that right now it is the time to really change, to born again, and fulfill the works that we can do, my Lord. But it is sometimes because of a fear, like an illusion of fear, that you don't really become the best person that you can be, because of fear of an established fear that the system put upon us. So we kind of feel like a pressure of things, my Lord. But I really learned that we need to live without fear, to do what we feel that we can do. And it is the time to even coordinate greater movements for the advancements of the Congress. And yes, my Lord, give thanks for the reasoning, my Lord. I send the whole of the love and my energy and yes, my Lord, to everything to come forward for the betterment of our government, my Lord. I really feel like the word from Empress Macy saying that there is sometimes that they could feel that there is nothing for the elders is something to take very serious, my Lord. And I myself, my Lord, that has been, yes, prophets from 2014, I feel like my contribution hasn't been the best because of sometimes that fear or like expecting for other people to get ready, but it is the time for I and I to get ready, my Lord, and give our heart to Jah Rastafari, to his obedience, and serve him and love him because it's the best of all. Holy Manuel, Selassie, Jah Rastafari.
Yes, my Lord, give thanks to the sound, give thanks to the high contribution to the reasoning. And I feel the high strong sound because, the man say age protected, infant cared for, sick nourished, naked clothed. Those are our duties. Those duties never change. That's why it was made into a creed. Those duties never change, and we are failing on those duties because how are we providing for our ancient, our elders? Age protected, how are we protecting the age? How are we? We are not. No, I want to address a little thing that I say. You see, one of the principles that the Father teach you, when two ones have a problem, when there's a disagreement between two people, if, and not if either, we kind of add the if to kind of give ourselves out more time, but we are supposed to resolve that problem before the sun go down. And if it's such a problem that we can't solve it before the sun go down, we must solve it before the Sabbath come.
True.
We are not supposed to go on the Sabbath with any conflict between two individuals. That is a principle set. But we don't even know those principles. A lot of ones don't even know those principles or understand those principles to even live them. We carry things for years and years and regurgitate them every time, bring them up in, I just been through something like that just recently in the Congress here. So I can attest to that. It's something that I have seen over the years that I despise. I totally despise it. I have seen two ones have something and something happened 20 years ago. And we are so feeble-minded that we carry it around and don't realize it has become a cancer in us. Those things break down your immune system. Bad vibes is what it creates in your body.
Killing you.
Because you're carrying that burden of hate and discomfort and dis-ease.
Killing you, man.
For so many years. When all you need to do is let it go. Let it go.
True.
Yes. Let it go.
Forgive.
Yes.
Because sometimes people expect like the resolution of problems to become like they are waiting for the resolution of things to allow themselves to love their brethren. So you can spend your whole life waiting for a resolution when everything that you have to do is really forgive and love unconditionally. It is sometimes like excuses that people put before love. But love must be unconditional, Myro. I really love that word because it is something I really meditate a lot on. unconditional love. Unconditional love. Even to my love, even to the people that's different than you, to the people that's around you, but they're not like your neighbors and things. You will still bless them with your heart, and not like from out of hypocrisy, but because you really love them. Yeah, man.
But we talk, blessed love, my Lord and Empress, you know. Give thanks for another blessed day. Give thanks for the reason I'm going to the earth, you know. And I've been listening, you know, over even the YouTube, and been listening for a minute and have an input I would love to say, you know. Well, I managed a Bobo Shanti that come into this thing in the 90s, you understand? And I come in after all of the, you know what I mean? All of the glory days, so to speak, you know, that the ones them speak up. And that momentum, you know, should have been carried on from them times till now, you check? Now, what I'm witnessing and what I'm seeing with my own two eyes is that the tabernacle, we talk about the first love. And the tabernacle is what unites us with that first love. You know what I mean? Because when no one comes to service and I want to start to sing the hymns and choruses and psalms and these things, it lightens you. You know what I mean? You actually feel a lightness come over you. You understand me? And days where now you start to shed whatever malice, whatever feeling you had towards your brethren or your sister, days where you come and you make it. You start to make yourself right. You start to clean up your heart. You start to clean up your goodie when you come to the service. But right now what I'm seeing is a lot of one staying away from the service order. You check? Because I man come down there in Miami.
True, my lord. True,
Me?
Bobo.
I come
True.
all the way down in Miami from Charlotte. You check? Ones leave all the way in New York. A man leave all the way from Bahamas. And you could imagine people in Miami itself. And the man even put their foot at the door. You understand me? Because they have malice, or because they have some kind of vibe with this man here, and this man have a vibe with this man, and they ain't making it right. You understand me? So the ones that are coming up and talking vibe, my son, they need to really hold a meditation same way too. You understand? Towards the words them. You check? Because the words that come out of a man's mouth same way could even hang him same way too. You check? Yeah. So I want the ones them to keep it real, ja. Keep it real within the eye them saying and doing. You understand me? And make it be just that. Like I say, and I'm going to reiterate again, the service order, the tabernacle, that is what revive I and I Rasta. That is what wipe away. I don't want no one tell me because it was in it 20 years ago and some glory days. I could feel it now. When I go to service, I just feel it. You understand me? When we come together and we singing and all of these things, that is what's supposed to wipe away all malice. All malice out of I and I hearts. You understand me? So that's why I want to even bring forward. Come back at the tabernacle. Come back at the service. Come back. Come forward to it. And revive yourself. My Lord and Empress. Give thanks for the time.
Joshua, wipe away all tears from our eye. Yes, I, for sure.
Yes, Bobo, I love the song, you know. Give thanks for the contribution to the song again. It shows the oneness of I and I meditation, you know. Everyone might say it in a different way and maybe hold on to a different aspect of the same concept, but we are on the same page right now. We're all seeing the same in action. We're all seeing the same problems that face I and I. So the solution is one, same way, you know. The solution is one, and we're making it difficult when it's not difficult, because loving is the easiest thing in the world, you know. I think hating is harder, you know, and despising and all those other things that give a bitter taste. I think it is harder. Loving is sweet and light, and it frees you. It does so much good things for you. that I can't see why I and I don't choose that way more than any other way. You know, try your work to do. Just do our work. We don't try it yet, you know, from 30 years coming up, I and I father make a transition. And as a house, we have not come together and tried our work to do in the way that Jah left it to be done.
True. True, my lord.
Every man want to come and reinterpret Jah thing, want to, and nothing is wrong with that if we are doing it as a family, if we are doing it together, you know, where each voice is heard, because every voice of the Congress is important. None is should be, you know, discarded or ignored, you know, not because you're not a brand name or you're some super priest or some, you know, no, every voice, just like how the two brethren just speak a while ago and speak from them heart, how them feel. Every voice needs to be heard, and we need to listen to what ones are saying. Feel the energy that the ones are putting out when they reason, so we can connect with that energy. And the more we connect together, we become a force. And like Marcus Garvey said, the honorable priest prophet said, it's a force to be reckoned with. It's not a force to be ignored.
Man, bless. Yes, I.
It's a force to be reckoned with. When we come together, the power we create is not a simple force, you know. I and I know that. I and I, especially of those days when we used to chant some service, when there used to be a current in the camp, the four corners of the camp used to have that energy that at the end of that celebration or that service, that sabbatical service or that celebration, when you listen, it affects things all over the world. You hear all kind of things are going on over the world. And the father, enough of the time, the father tell me before it happened. The father say, yeah, you see that celebration, yeah? Yeah, I want the item going out with a heart. You know, I'm paraphrasing using my words. The father say it how him say it, but it mean the same thing. Chant with a vigor in other one, yeah, because that one are going to affect some things. And you see at the end of that celebration, you hear say, but all kinds of different things. You understand? I remember distinctly the first, when there was two pope died, when one pope died and them replaced him, and then the second one died immediately as them replaced him. Within 2 months, the two pope them was dead. And before the first one passed, the father called the house together like him usually do on a Friday evening, when the whole of I and I gather around him palace in our whites.
True, man.
And he would have come
True
out on the
majesty.
veranda. And him come out on the veranda and him talk to I and I and say, this celebration coming up, we will have something to really celebrate about. See, him never tell me what directly it was, you know. Him said, this celebration going to be impactful. See, and when the first pope passed, and we are celebrating and we think is that, him come forward and him said, no, that is not it, it's not done yet. And bam, the second pope passed, establishing the man prophecy, what the man prophesy about, giving I and I a reason to really chant with jubilance, you know. Because not say we are rejoicing in the death of anyone, but it's the death of an evil. It's an evil principle that we are chanting against, because we come not to fight against flesh and blood, you know, but evil principalities in high and low places. So it's the evil principle that he represents that gave us an energy to chant with vigor, because that vanquish out of earth at that moment, showing the power of good over evil.
Victory. True.
Yeah, we lose all of them vibes. We're not connecting with them vibes. We don't have them power there no more. We don't have them weapon. The power is still there, you know. Don't misunderstand me. That power, we can conjure it anytime we decide to put our hearts together in one. We can we can conjure up that power and resurrect it, you know.
True.
But we have to be willing to make that effort. It's a sacrifice. It's a selfless sacrifice that we have to be willing to make, where we put aside the things that would separate us to embrace the things that bring us together and work towards building on those things to build a strong order, which will now also help to build a strong country, a strong nation, because we are here to represent the African nation, what them call the Black nation, the African nation. That's what Marcus Garvey tell we, you know. Same come to represent Africa and African people. And King Emmanuel say, him come to finish Marcus Garvey work. Listen to the tape. The tape exists. Everyone should have a copy of that tape with Dada interview. When Dada say, when the asking the question, him say him come to finish Marcus Garvey work where Marcus Garvey start, which is to rise forward the Black African nation. We don't dare for minister to Bobo don't dare for minister to Bobo, you know. Yes, we love when we come together and we rock the place and we, you know, we have a nice vibe. But we are here to do our work. Dada rose up to do our work, and we are here to finish the work that the man leave us upon until the man nation is secure under the wings of the continent of Africa, until we have the freedom to be world travelers again, respected by all. Saying, we have a work to do. And while we bicker, and while we fuss and fight amongst each other, the enemy is laughing and laughing all the way to victory. And I need to put them things aside now. It's time and I rise up a Christ spirit in us. Seeing, we need to embrace the word of truth, the comforter. The man left that with I and I. Him say in John 14, him say when him tried him, I'll leave a comforter with I and I, which is the word of truth. And I need to rise up for that comforter, that word of truth within I and I self. What is the word of truth? Man of right is God in flesh and woman of right is goddess. How do we manifest that? True, and I live it.
Sure.
How we live one to another is how we manifest that. And how we share that with each other and with the people. Like how the people used to say, him and a Baba man, because Baba not do, them know, you know. You think the people don't
Yes,
know?
man. Yes, I. Them know. Them know the work of Dada. But then keep up calling them and say, you're not bubble.
God, them know. It's I and I need to know I and I self now, Rasta. When I come on this thing and I hear Mama Lily voice, I hear voice, Mama Maisie, I today I don't know the love when in my heart, the way my heart feel. I don't know about no one else. I only can speak for myself. When I hear my elders, them voice, the people who I know sacrifice with I to stand up with the Father, too good and bad and indifferent, to face the 40-day fast them.
Oh God!
To go without food, enough meals, to drink banana water enough night and go to bed, belt and go to bed.
Kalalu water.
People stand up in that for years and rock the salvation with the Father. I have to love them, I have to respect the item, The item is more precious to I than anything else, than even I own, what them wanna call I own flesh and blood, because I own flesh and blood. Them never got through that. Them don't know what it is to give them kind of sacrifice. They have enjoyed the niceties of life throughout them life, them living. But I and I leave a woman family for rally with the God of love, Rasta. And it wasn't easy. So I have to, every time I hear the item and hear the item voice, I know so the item is well. It make I man have a goodness in myself. It give I a strength to go through and reach to the next moment. Without the item, there is no I, Ubuntu. I am because thou art. Without the item, nothing about I is nothing. It's together we are something, I am.
True,
together we walk, together we talk, together we wash one another.
True, Bobo. For sure, man. Yeah, the man talk, man. Me feel good in my heart, Jadogi, man. Me give thanks to them words, they know, yeah.
Oh, Mama, I tell you, I do, so many, Mama Lily can tell you, man. I mean, the whole of the idea, Mama Esther, I mean, even though me and her have good things when we have good things, me love the idea,
she put in her work to Majesty.
Me say me love the idea, me love the whole of the idea, as imperfect as we are with all, just like how Jadid accept we and love with all the infirmity where we come to him with. Because we were not as bright as we are now when we first reached the Father, with the dirty up and mud up. And I
Oh God, man. We garment this pot up higher.
and it's
And we
him
are making
clean me up.
spotless. Yes,
I
I.
clean me up, Rasta. So I
Oh, you
love the
mean-
item I am. I love say the item turn up in it. What I would have loved now, what would make I feel better is I and I coming together, man. And we reseat in the family,
Oh,
we start
gosh,
look out
man.
to one
For
another,
sure.
man. Yeah, man, what we know, so when them days they were, yo, mama, they them don't remember when I used to come, I am pre-sorry used to come in, when they them say, and I come in, how much barrel, and I.
Oh, you
Every-
mean majesty?
Every
In
cent
the
I
yet is
make,
my Lord. In the yet is my Lord. You
Oh,
mean
every-
majesty?
every cent I make, and I, when I there, the store, shop, you know, I and the priest used to always have a little thing, I say, you know, oh, we, a royalty, we are shop for, you know. So the best we are,
Royalty.
at the best we are buy, you know. I man never
I
buy
love
second
that.
best come a yard. I never carry nothing second best come a camp. Me, I priest dog never carry nothing second best because the item was always the best of the best.
Yes, true, my Lord. For sure, for sure.
The item was always the best of the best. So I man have to carry the best for the item. So
True,
Priest
majesty.
Priest Michael, who we call Priest Mooney, was another man when me and him reason them way there. Anything we are do, we are say are the best, are the angel them we are carry this far, are the angel
Yeah,
them we are
man.
do this far.
And the angel them that us to get the best of the best.
So, just say the worst away is better than the best of them.
Oh, you mean majesty?
Yes, my Lord. Yeah. The floor is open, you know, if anyone has anything that they wanted to say still, but before too long, we'll probably see the reasoning.
Yeah, I self have to make 2 months and start more.
Reasoning about the priesthood. Priest Dougie was sharing about. Mhm.
Yes, I.
Well, you know, if there's nothing else, I would just, Priest Dougie, if you could just, you know, say a prayer before to seal up.
Yes, my Lord. So, Honorable, before you go, I give thanks to you all what said and done today, you know. Yes, it was good to hear the Honorable Priest saying we can testify, you know, of the goodness of that and him and foundation and people, you know. Glorify majesty and strength and power. Same way to all my beloved brethren, a heart of celebration. You know, as we celebrate, you know, our father and mother coronation, same way. Give thanks to our loved one in Christ, mighty Jehovah, Jah.
Yeah, Rastafari.
All blessing and love.
That are not here on this for all Bobo Ashanti worldwide, no matter where they are, I send out the divine love no matter who they is and no matter how you might feel about I sending out a divine love to all in the name of our Father, Holy Emmanuel, Selassie,
Yeah.
Rastafari. And as I seal up, you know, and I will say, glory be unto our Father and unto our Mother, you know, unto those ancient ones of creation, as Jah was in the beginning, he is now, and he shall ever be, and his world shall have no end. Most High.
Selassie.
Rastafari.
Yes,
So,
sir.
and I glorify the love.
Yes, sir.
Man, glorify the love. Mama Lily in Ethiopia, hold strong. I know you're
Yes,
in
man.
the seat of, you know, the crown head. I know a lot of things going on around you. Be safe, you know.
Yes,
I know
yes,
I love the eye, no matter where you are and what is going on. And I love the eye. And I support and strength is with the eye. And anything that I can do that is within I ability, I is ever willing to do. And that goes for everyone. Peace and love, my brothers and sisters.
Blessed love, my Lord and my Lord.
Yes, my Lord and Empress, give thanks for this celebration as well. Give thanks even for the communion that we commune today. And continue to let us go within one another, one divine love. Like so one love.
Yeah, but something
thanks. At the celebration.
My
Blessed
Lord,
are the celebration, my Lord.
a heart of celebration to one and all,
Yes,
my
I.
Lord. Give thanks for the words, wonderful words of life, my Lord. Share at this moment, my Lord. Give thanks because without love, there is no unity, and there is no unity without love. And our Father calls us for unity and love. So, my Lord and Empress, heart of love, my Lord and Empress.
Blessed love, my
Out
Lord.
of joy, my Lord and Empress. Out of
Yes, sir.
celebration.
Blessed love.
Blessings.
And give thanks for everyone who tuned in. Give thanks for everybody who was in the Zoom. Give thanks for all the information shared. Give thanks for the reasoning. Yeah, it was definitely a benefit to me, to hear more about our priesthood and even some of the issues that we have. Because the more we know about the problems that we face or that we have that's holding us back, is the more educated we are to fix it. Because that's what it's really all about. It's not really about just talking about problems, but just about to find out how we can move things forward.
And even in our homes. And even in
Give
our
thanks
homes,
to the program, Priest Dougie, Empress, my Lord.
and even in our homes where we might have problems with our companions, we need to solve those problems. And
Thanks to
before the sun go down. No problem must go to rest with us. We must solve our problems, endeavor to do so before the sun go down. And free our hearts. Free our hearts, Sire. Free our hearts. Because we don't know what moment or what number it's gonna be called, And you don't want to be called. You don't want to be called with those things outstanding. You want to always answer the call when your number is called with a free heart, with a free spirit, with a clean hands and a pure in heart. So let I endeavor to do so. Like I said, everything that we do starts in the home, and then it extends beyond the home to our neighbors, our community, our nation, and to all people. Rastafari.
Blessed are the celebration to one and all, Give thanks for the coronation coming through.
My Lord.
Yeah, that's the end of the. We stop here to start again, every Sunday, 10 o'clock. Blessed love.